We just didn't understand them to be real at the time, right? We
I don't know if you
didn't
can
know about,
change the date. Is that possible to do
as far as I
this?
know, no. But I mean, you know, if you can teleport a plane, I guess you might be able to
Well,
change the
maybe
date on
see
an
if someone
artifact.
else can do this. See if anyone else can fake a video from 2014 and put it up on the Wayback Machine on archive.org.
But
That
even so,
anyone
what I'm
can
saying
look.
is that we've seen it. I
Um,
actually saw one of them myself, so I can even corroborate and testify to the fact that these were
yeah,
out there in 2014. And I didn't think it was real back then either. Actually, you know.
the patent
Um,
hijacking is a weird argument as we got into because it's not like
mhm.
I guess they would have kept control over the company would have kept control over everything, and it's not like it would have fallen into.
Exactly.
But maybe you never
The
know
company
because
got
some of
sold
this.
though. They got sold the next year to NXP, which is
Yeah,
kind of weird.
NXP, right? They're a big semiconductor company over, I think, in
Yep.
Germany or something. But
Yeah,
it's
Netherlands. Yeah, you're close. Yep.
but don't they didn't they like there's some connection with the Carlyle Group and the Rothschilds there too? That
That was the
they're
patent thing about these like nanotechnology patent, but that was the thing
yeah.
about where the individuals don't own those patents anyway. Like the company owns it and it gets patented under the individual by the company. So that's where I think that's a bit of a red herring where they're maybe even trying to throw us off the real thing, which is these 20 semiconductor engineers and scientists that were going to China to help improve the factories and make them more efficient.
Okay,
And those are the people where I'm wondering, like, their intellectual property to me is the real value here because the risk of
and then
deploying this technology, if it's real, is so high. I mean, look what happened. 2 videos leaked because somebody looked at it and like had an emotional reaction. Is like, oh, the world's got to know this.
well, this is interesting. Let's get into that because that's the next piece of evidence. So you have that the video is the actual evidence itself, right? And then I was mentioning to you that hey, well, if this was really leaked, someone probably went to jail for this. Like, if you know, this is on the internet now. There's got to be a court case. Is there any evidence for that? And you went looking and you found a name. What is that name and bring that? Can you bring that up again with the share
More than a
screen?
name, a full
Yeah,
case,
no,
right?
a whole court case with
Yeah.
redacted documents that he's posted to Twitter about all this with the court
Edward C.
case.
Lynn. Yeah.
So
So let me
Ed,
pull that up again.
yeah, pull that up, please. Yeah, so apparently this guy did some time. It
Yep.
says that the videos are available. That whatever the classified content that he leaked is available. He's got all the right clearances and the right
Yep.
working. He worked in the right place, the right time. Everything just seems to match. A little too perfect and exact.
Yep. He was arrested at the right time. Makes sense. He's experienced in
Yeah.
signals intelligence, which is what we think we're
Arrested on
seeing here.
September 11th, too, no doubt,
I love
right?
it. People might like that. Yeah, he flew this Ares spy plane where the witness saw 2 other planes. The French dad who lost his wife and child was told the Americans know what happened, that there was 2 AWACS in the area. Like he could have literally been there on the plane at the night. Charges that result in life in prison. He was facing life in prison. First major incident of an active duty member of the Navy since the Cold War. Heavily redacted charge sheet, including all the dates being redacted. We
Yeah.
tried to use AI and we can't figure it out. I mean, this is the charge sheet. These are all the charges. All the dates are redacted. Like, why are you redacting all the dates, right?
Because
Unless they're going
yeah,
to be corroborate something.
that would corroborate if he
Very
was
weird.
connected with
Right?
MH,
The
you'd be able to
date
tell
being
that.
redacted, though, the date, like
Well,
that's never
the other thing
redacted
too,
for a
right?
charge.
If you ask for the specific document and you list the specific date too,
Mhm.
can they have to release it and unredact it,
Well,
right?
I fired them, so we're gonna find out. I fired the NCIS
FOIA,
and
yeah,
the
FOIAs,
FBI.
yeah.
FOIA, sorry. So he also had top secret and access to the Navy's black program portfolio. He was in the right type of squadron.
Yeah.
His assignment was during the right dates. Remember, February 14th, it happened in March, and then he
Yeah.
got arrested in September of 2015. So he didn't even
He
make it through his
knew.
whole deployment here. He was
Yeah.
part of this super secret squadron, the VPU squadron.
The
It claimed
wizards.
it didn't end up being really a spy case at all,
Yeah, it's
and
not
it
a spy
instead
case.
wasn't
It's
about a
not
spy case.
espionage because he just leaked it. It's more like a, yeah,
So he takes a plea deal. The classified information is available on the internet,
yeah. So we
and
know
maybe
it's
even more
available on the internet. Is this it? Would this be it? Maybe.
exactly. And then in 2014, he accidentally left 2 flight manifests in his flight suit from a deployment that included search and rescue code names. To me, I mean, he was there. He was there at the time, and that's what he took the manifest. There might have been evidence as
Man,
well.
hey, it's not that I want to believe, man. I'm just I came in this very skeptical, and I'm walking away with some, something
Some big
to really
questions.
look into, some big names and stuff to
Yeah.
look into, some big questions. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to see more, the debunks and stuff on this. You can go either way, and I'm not convinced on the footage itself. With all the, like as I pointed out, there's so much deep fake technology that just goes way back, early times. So I don't know that that's going to convince me completely. And as we move into the future, it's going to be harder and harder to resolve things with just videos and stuff like that. But
Exactly.
you've made some good points on the videos too, that the things that they would have to fake, and I don't have the expertise to really dig into all those things myself. But again, the challenge is on the record here on the podcast, so it's out there for anyone who does that kind of stuff to go and do. And as I said, one good test is worth 1,000 expert opinions. So all someone's got to do to prove you wrong is just show it and make it right. So.
Yeah.
No one's done that yet. You could be the first. Looking forward to whatever people come up with and put stuff out on that. I'm gonna open it up to some just
Sure.
some friends and public
Let's do it.
questions and stuff, and see if we can't get everyone's got doubts or questions to ask. So please be respectful to the guests, and you're welcome to come on
Just in case
I'm
anybody
gonna.
asks about the Rolls-Royce engines, the Rolls-Royce engines apparently are supposed to be able to send data as well that should have been able to corroborate the official story, but Rolls-Royce data just never came out, surprisingly enough. And I don't think we could get that data because it's a private company, but that's something else that I just find a little bit suspicious.
I have a
And that
question.
there was no hydrophones that picked up like where the crash would have been. They don't mention
Yeah.
Diego Garcia as all like the media and the government's official narrative like hide Diego Garcia as if it doesn't exist, when really Diego Garcia is like where all the information that they knew exactly what was going on, and that whether it ended up there or not, the information of what actually happened to this flight is there, and all the capabilities of monitoring it are there. One thing I really want to bring up, I don't know if you mentioned it, was that Don Lemon first went on to see it and it was like, oh, it was a black hole, it disappeared into a black hole, and everyone's like, I remember at the time being like, yeah, right. And then they're like, oh, it was aliens, yeah, right. But it was like they put that out there just because to be able to debunk essentially the videos you're now sharing and make people be like, oh, it's just so ridiculous, when in fact there is what looks like the solid evidence, and that the whole case you've put together goes hand in hand with the Nimitz and the TicTac encounters and all of that, but in the fact that it's showing that it's our technology and that it's the government's or secret project that's utilizing it and applying it.
I'm at the office. He just walked. Aiden just walked in.
Yeah, the Don Lemon thing is the weirdest thing I've ever seen on CNN, and that's actually saying something, because in this Don Lemon piece, he's just like, well, what if it was a black hole out of nowhere? And then the guests are just like kind of taken aback, and the Department of Transport lady goes, well, even a small black hole would have sucked in our whole universe. What is this lady talking about? It was just the weirdest interaction I've ever seen. And that's including the thing about this lady trying to be on a boat and people just walking by her in this fake flood. So it's odd.
One last question about that supposed photo that had the metadata tag to Diego Garcia. It was Philip Wood, you said his name?
Yeah,
and he was a passenger on that plane.
Executive.
And then he's never been seen of since either, right? Since that one thing. It was like the last upload of or ping from his phone.
So a lot of people say, like, what do they do with these passengers, right? Now, you go the nefarious route, you say, you know what we're talking about there. The other side of it, though, is what if you just make deals to send these people back to the countries, right? China's never going to allow these people ever to speak again. That's easy. That's most of the passengers. If you're talking about the Western passengers, there's like maybe less than 10, a handful of them. Philip Wood, I would put him in witness protection. You give him a new name, he's never allowed to talk to anybody, make him sign an NDA. No one's ever going to find him again, right? But you could argue many different things in terms of what they might have done with the passengers. All I know, no families of the victims have reached out to me. None of them. You'd think there'd be at least one desperate person who wants answers. None have, not a single one. And I don't plan on reaching out to them, but I just find that very unusual.
Right. If it's the official story, then they're fish food. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's a good question because there was a number of things that have come up with the 9/11 stuff too about, was there a plane swap? Because Operation Northwoods and the 62 government document where they uh, gave the idea of starting a war with Cuba by, switching a plane with a drone and then shooting it down and pretending like a bunch of college kids were killed, as the public would react and be like, oh, we need to go to war with Cuba. So the same kind of idea, switching these planes, using it to start a war. In this case, maybe using it to cover up semiconductor technology or scientists or some other work there. That seems to be the most nefarious conspiracy angle I've seen on that.
I agree.
It's certainly a lot of, like I mentioned, the parallels to the 9/11 stuff that I brought up earlier with Systems Planning Corporation and the passengers aboard Flight 77 into the Pentagon. In fact, the pilot for Flight 77, which crashed into the Pentagon on 9/11, ran the Pentagon's MASCAL drills on which basically drilled for planes crashing into the Pentagon and how the Pentagon would respond. And he was like the head guy in charge of those drills. And then he ends up being the guy on the plane. It's just wild and weird. There's also a number of scientists who are on board that plane that belong to the radar physics group. And I'll have all these links posted in the description below for people that want to dig into this further. And hopefully someone can break this case, crack this case, or find something that's going to, if we can find these guys alive in another country, that would be,
just one.
All you need is just one. Yeah. Or, say that these scientists went to work for a secret lab somewhere. They said, listen, we're going to pretend you died on this plane, but we're going to give you a second chance. And, so they're working at some secret lab, maybe on Diego Garcia itself. Maybe that's where they have maybe that is the Area 51. Maybe they've moved all the Roswell stuff there and they're studying it out in the middle of nowhere.
It's a good place. I mean, you can't land commercial airliners there. They even have like a protected area around it where there's a no-fly zone. There's a
just
big
working. There's an
underneath
NDA,
it.
right?
There's so much people don't know, man. And I love all these people that come on the shows and be like, oh, I know, and they're so damn sure of themselves. And I don't like anyone who's too sure of themselves. You always have to second guess yourself and second guess your assumptions going into anything. But you've got you've got a bunch of evidence now. I think we dig into that the Lynn fellow there.
Yeah.
Dig into him more. We're gonna find some stuff here, man. This is if this is real and there's something more here, which I really feel like there could be, then it's either gonna break and then something new is gonna break in the next couple in the next couple of months or something, or who knows? Maybe someone else has more videos or more stuff to leak, or maybe we'll get an interview with that guy who that's crazy, man.
Went to jail potentially for leaking these videos.
If that's the guy, it sounds so much.
Break the whole thing wide open.
The similarities in his case and the timing and everything. It's just too weird, man. It's just a little really too.
But I agree with you. Is that more stuff might come out. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I got a question. I believe, on Rex's Leak Project interview that you were mentioning a couple of Iranian potentials with fake passports on it. So that's like a whole nother aspect that if it was like an American op for something and like something to do with this high technology, that you would potentially see something like that, and or just another reason for why it potentially went down, but it's very suspicious.
Yeah, and initially, if you watch my Confessionals podcast, which was one of the first in-person ones that I did, actually the first in-person one I did, that I still didn't know. We didn't have any idea about this fire at that time. So I was either on, is this espionage or is this some type of UFO encounter type scenario?
Yeah.
And to your point, I try not to be certain about it. And then I was all on these fake Iranian passengers. They were traveling on stolen passports. They had changed their appearance to look like these passengers, these people. There's even a picture of the guy, the real guy, holding up his real passport going, that wasn't me on the plane. And they had pictures of them. It looks very similar. And keep in mind, almost all the passengers are Asian on this plane, except for a handful of people. These people would have stuck out. And they were supposedly refugees trying to get to Amsterdam. But why are you going to Beijing on a stolen passport from Malaysia? There's direct flights, especially if you're spending thousands or tens of thousands of dollars for these passports. Don't you want to mitigate how many security things you have to go through? Every country you go through is another huge amount of risk of you getting caught, right? So the fact that that got brushed under the rug like 2 days afterwards just seemed really weird, especially in a post 9/11 world where hijacking is one of the main possible like narratives here. It's still weird to me, honestly.
Hey, what have you seen about the black box beacons? And
so
have they ever been found?
I'm going to dig into that because I just saw somebody in the chat post that say that they should work for 30 days and go up to 20,000 feet underwater.
Yeah,
if that's true. Like, how would you not get any black box pings, right? Like, I'm going to add that to my list of evidence because that's also strong evidence why this plane didn't crash into the water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to dig into that and just confirm that that data. But whoever posted that in the chat, you're a hero. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know about the disappearance. Again, if the purpose of that's the only thing. That's one of the things that just I can't physically explain. Well, what happened to that plane with my understanding of technology and physics? It makes no sense. And I'm not going to try to go there. I'm just going to say that I don't know that the video. I don't know. Yeah. He got the video again. We went over all this, Mike. You have to go back.
Well, let me say this part about the science for you guys. So this is going to be a little bit compelling, I think, for you guys. So somebody told me that I should reach out to this guy, Salvatore Pius, who has these patents that you might be familiar with. I think they came out in 2018, Navy patents.
Yep.
Oh, so I sent him an email and say, hey. Yeah, so I sent him an email and say, hey, Mr. Pius, have you seen these videos at all? People are telling me they're similar to technology that you've put in your patents. He emails me back in 12 hours, tells me, let's set up an interview. I haven't interviewed anybody before. Okay. This is my first ever interview. It's going to be on Sunday. I'm going to talk to him about the science. I want to learn everything about the science of his patents. And if I'm not going to we're not going to talk about the videos in the first interview. He wants to do more than one. So the first one's going to be about digging into the science. I want to be able to speak to it from the layman's perspective where people like us can understand exactly what his patents really mean. And then after that, potentially the follow-up ones, we'll talk about the videos a little bit. So I think that might be where we can kind of dig into what's really happening in these videos from this zap, from these orbs, and really help people like us understand it.
Oh, that's awesome that Sal's doing your show. So Sal Pius is going to be on AlienScientist here on November 12th.
Oh, that's the week after. Awesome.
The week after you. So,
So you should check out mine and then play off of that for sure, man.
Yeah. So where can people find your channel, Ashton? On YouTube?
So I have the same tag as I have that you see on the screen right here. It's at JustXAshton on YouTube as well. I'll go ahead and maybe you can actually find it and pull it up. I've already got almost 1,000 subscribers, I think, just from posting a couple of videos over the last week. I just got it set up. Yeah, there it is right there.
There you are, man. You got all these. So you got the heat sinking videos, all the stuff's up there. You got
a couple of debunks up there. I was actually just working last night. I decided to start stream while I was putting together all evidence. We had a nice little chat while I was working on the all evidence link. Just because I think it's fun for people to watch along.
I definitely am going to subscribe. And I want to check out how you do with Sal the week before, so I can see. I'm a bit more familiar with his patents and the technology and the deep physics of it. So we're going to be.
That's awesome.
It's going to be a little bit more technical when I get him on here. Hopefully. Definitely come back and check out that in a week after he goes on your show, and people go check out your channel over there, and they can go see that. What else was I going to say? You got any other cool interviews coming up too? I know Danny Jones, the Concrete Podcast, asked me to check you out. He said what do you know about this guy? Ashton. I was like, he's coming on my show Friday, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if.
I mean, I've been keeping a lot of my appearances close to the chest, just because as we started, you saw there's quite a lot of people trying to prevent me from talking to people and say things that are untrue. So what I say is there's some exciting stuff coming up for sure, and stay tuned for it. I will announce stuff, the moment that I've got it kind of confirmed and it's been solidified. But you're not going to expect a lot of announcements too